At the heart of this firestorm is the Skipper, a hulking, very large crude carrier flagged under mystery ownership but previously slapped with U.S. sanctions for hauling Iranian oil in defiance of global rules. On December 10, 2025, just days after loading over 1 million barrels of Venezuela's sticky heavy crude at the Jose terminal near Caracas, U.S. Coast Guard cutters, backed by Navy destroyers, intercepted it in international waters off Venezuela's coast. This wasn't a gentle boarding, it was a full seizure, the crew detained, and the vessel redirected straight to a Texas port for unloading. Trump boasted about it from the White House podium, dubbing it the largest oil seizure ever and teasing that the U.S. might just keep the bounty as spoils of war. Why this tanker? Intelligence pinned it as part of Maduro's shadow fleet, rust buckets dodging sanctions to ship oil to cash-strapped allies like Cuba. The skipper's Iranian ties added spice, linking it to Tehran's network that's long evaded U.S. pressure. Officials say the cargo's value tops $80 million, enough to fund Maduro's regime for months, amid hyperinflation and blackouts plaguing Venezuela. This op echoes Trump's first-term playbook, but amps it up. No more warnings, just action. The message? America's back, and no one's stealing oil on our watch. Nicolas Maduro, heir to Hugo Chávez's socialist revolution, rules a nation that's imploded from oil riches to breadlines. Venezuela sits on 300 billion barrels of proven reserves, more than Saudi Arabia, but corruption, mismanagement, and U.S. sanctions have cratered output to under 800,000 barrels a day. Maduro's accused of turning the country into a narco-state, with top generals indicted by the U.S. for flooding streets with cocaine via the Cartel of the Suns. That tanker? Proceeds likely bankrolled everything from F-35 bribes to Russian mercenaries propping up his rule. Maduro's retaliation was swift and theatrical. State TV aired fiery rants, labeling the seizure Yankee piracy and economic warfare, promising UN complaints and asymmetric responses. He's mobilized coastal militias, shadowed U.S. ships with patrol boats, and begged backers like Russia and China for air defense upgrades. Insiders whisper of cyber plots targeting U.S. grids or proxy attacks via Colombian guerrillas. Yet cracks show. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado hailed it as a death knell for Maduro, with protests flickering in Caracas despite crackdowns. Since his January 2025 inauguration, Trump's Venezuela obsession has hit overdrive. Gone are Biden-era half measures. He's reinstated maximum pressure sanctions, freezing $7 billion in assets, blacklisted 50-plus shadow tankers, and surged naval might, with the USS Gerald Ford Carrier Group steaming into the Caribbean. F-35s overhead, subs lurking below. Over 20 defensive strikes have sunk drug-laden go-fast boats, killing 87, including Venezuelan military-linked crews. Trump justifies it as hot pursuit in an armed conflict, with cartels sidestepping Congress. This tanker grab fits a pattern: economic strangulation to force regime change. Advisors like Marco Rubio push for recognizing opposition interim president Edmundo Gonzalez, potentially legitimizing seizures as spoils. Trump's teased invasion, all options on table, and mused about annexing oil fields. Critics scream provocation, UN experts decry unlawful force, but supporters cheer it as detoxing a failed state, exporting 7 million migrants northward. Oil markets convulsed. Brent crude jumped 5% to $82 per barrel on supply fears from OPEC's sick man. Cuba, guzzling Venezuelan crude for 100,000 barrels daily, faces blackouts, worsening its misery. Iran's shadow fleet now dodges U.S. patrols warily, while China, buying 80% of Venezuela's legal oil, urges restraint but quietly reroutes shipments. Regionally, Brazil's Lula condemns imperialism. Colombia's Petro walks a tightrope as a U.S. ally, and Mexico stays mum. Russia ships Su-30 jets to Maduro, hinting at escalation. If boats clash or missiles fly, refugee tsunamis hit U.S. borders, and gas hits $5 per gallon. Trump's betting Maduro blinks first, but history, from Bay of Pigs to Grenada, shows Caribbean tinderboxes explode unpredictably.